Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Anthony Joshua says he'll knock Deontay Wilder out within 6 rounds. So let's just break it down honestly and objectively on how we see the fight. And this is Anthony Joshua's exact quote. He said he wouldn't be there in the 7th round. I would go in and knock him out. This is a serious fight. I ain't going in there to try and outbox him for 12 rounds. I've got to go in there and take him out. And this is according to Sky Sports Boxing. Now, that's very interesting. You're going to have some fanboys saying, well, he didn't knock out Andy Ruiz and he fought Andy Ruiz. So let me educate the fanboys first and just break it down. You know, Anthony Joshua dropped Andy Ruiz in that first fight, a fighter who's never been dropped, a fighter who's known to have a granite chin, and he dropped him. And you know, and this is when he sat in the pocket and tried to slug with the guy with faster hands. And you know, with a come forward fighter, a fighter with faster hands, a fighter with a high work rate, an aggressive styled fighter. This is a style that Anthony Joshua needed to face. This is a style that Deontay Wilders never faced. And like they say, styles truly do make fights. And he needed to make the adjustments to beat a fighter of this magnitude. It's not that he couldn't slug with him and beat him, but the probability wasn't as great. So it made sense to make the adjustments in the rematch to box him. And that's exactly what Anthony Joshua did. Use his height, use his reach, and sat in there and outboxed him for 12 rounds and did a masterful job at doing it. So that type of fight made sense for Anthony Joshua to do it that way. And you see, Andy Ruiz literally had no success in the second fight. He was utterly dominated based on Anthony Joshua's physical attributes and boxing acumen alone. And then you see, when you look at Deontay Wilder, he fought Luis Ortiz, lost every round until the knockout. And then you see when he fought Tyson Fury, literally lost every round except for the 2 knockdowns. And when you see these two type of fighters, neither one of these fighters have Anthony Joshua's power. Neither one of these type of fighters has the ability and power to knock out Deontay Wilder the way Anthony Joshua does. Anthony Joshua is an elite level power puncher and can box. He has a multitude of skills. Luis Ortiz can box. He simply doesn't have the power. Tyson Fury can box. He simply doesn't have the power. And Luis Ortiz is 40 plus years old. You expected him to gas and be out of shape by the 7th round. If Luis Ortiz was a young man, he probably would have took Deontay Wilder the distance. He simply couldn't do it physically. He was too old. You see Tyson Fury takes Deontay's best shots, gets up, and goes the full 12 rounds and was robbed of a decision against Deontay Wilder. We have to be honest and unbiased about this. Deontay Wilder simply cannot box. He's going to lose rounds, and that's what would favor Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua is a power puncher unlike Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua is young unlike Luis Ortiz and is a power puncher. And then you see Deontay Wilder, people are bragging about his chin, it's this, it's that. This is the same guy that got rocked by Eric Molina, a guy who's not known as elite level power puncher. A guy who's not known as much of a puncher at all. A guy who, Anthony Joshua dominated and knocked out. The same guy that Wilder knocked out. But the problem is he was staggered by this guy. People forget easily. His chin has never been tested by an aggressive power puncher. His chin has never been tested by, an aggressive come forward fighter. And that's why he avoids certain fights. You look at a guy like Dillian Whyte, a guy who's going to be an aggressive pressure fighter, who's going to be on him the entire fight, and a guy who can also hit, who's very strong and has good power and pop. And yet Deontay Wilders avoided him like the plague. Even, Dillian Whyte came out and exposed Deontay Wilders' own text messages rejecting a fight with Dillian Whyte. See, we have to bring facts. We have to bring the truth, because stylistically, that's the style Deontay Wilders never faced. He's never faced a young pressure fighter who has power. He's never faced someone with those type of abilities. And that's why he's avoided and ducked Dillian Whyte for so long. And then you see Deontay Wilder reject over $100 million to fight Anthony Joshua. People want to know, why would you reject that kind of money for Anthony Joshua? I just don't get it. It's simply because stylistically he doesn't match up with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has the boxing acumen to come in, outbox Deontay Wilder like everyone does in the first few rounds. But unlike everyone else he's faced, he has the power to put him to sleep within the first 6. But once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP.